guys?
Super weird.
Good. It seems like the folks that were already in here when I was yapping away are back. So guys, sorry for the technical difficulties. As we all know, we live in this digital, beautiful age of craziness. And James had called me and I was like, what's going on? Why aren't you actually on the live? So I don't know, guys, what's going on. Like, I know Instagram, because this actually happened a while ago when I did a live. Apparently, they didn't see I was live. So this algorithm, something else.
And I don't know, because it really, like, it wasn't like you weren't showing up on my stories. I could see all your stories, but not like the red, live.
That's weird. Well, whatever, James. We are here. I am so excited. So I have to say, like, you and I have chatted and have known each other for a few months now. And we'll get into this. So James is an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. I'm building this platform. And it was so funny because he and I met and I was doing like my elevator pitch about dyslexia, and then you were like, wait a second, you're saying a lot of words, like I don't understand. You were like, I'm dyslexic, and I was like, get out of here. Like, this is exactly why this happened. Like, the universe brought us together. So I am so excited about this. Let's hop in. So I want to say, first things first, I've been doing these lives for a minute, so those of you who have been following me know this, right? But this is now the start of a series, and it's called D-Cubed Debrief. And so given that I'm an educator, I had to throw in the little math cube part because it's dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. And I don't discriminate. Obviously, my platform's called Think Dyslexia, but I want to make sure that folks that are out there, it's important to get the message out there about the other neurodiversities too. But James, you are episode 1. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I feel fortunate, really, because we've been talking and we're trying to plan, like, oh, let's go to Clubhouse, let's do this, and then we know each other doing our stuff, and finally, like, I reached out to you, like, and I was like, look, I'm looking to go live and to like share my experience, and I've been learning more about it too. So I wanted to like, look, I want to share that with Dr. Lauren. So definitely, I'm super excited to be here.
So James, let's just hop right in. So as I said to you, this is a free flow conversation. I don't really know your dyslexic story, so this is a platform for you to share. So I know you told me that you're undiagnosed. So let's talk a little bit about little James in school. Like, what's the start of your story with this?
So for me, I always did great in school, and I never liked history or like Spanish. I liked it, like I liked the rules part of like the syllables and all that stuff, because it's more like math in a way, right? Like there's rules, there's like, so math and science, I excel every time. I loved it. But then like Spanish, English, history, all those, like a lot of words, a lot of writing
classes. Yeah.
That was like the challenge, and I had to look for ways to try to pass the test. And like really, I just cared about passing the test and like learning during the class, because that were conversational and everything. I super attentive. It was just when it went to like writing and reading, it's like, because I'm competitive, so if I'm not good at something, I don't like doing it, because I don't like feeling like a loser. No, I want to feel like a winner. So that was like me growing up. And I started doing things like I read, or somebody else read the review of the history thing, and then I put it on my ears and I just like listened to it in just voice notes. And that's a way, one of the things that I did to get around it. So.
Yeah, and I know for sure that is always like the number one accommodation as a special educator. It's like, let's get books on audio, and thank goodness for kids now where they have Audible, they have Learning Ally, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, those things really didn't exist. So talk to me a little bit about when you realized that you were dyslexic.
I had my suspicions growing up, but I mean, I did so good in classes that it was kind of like hard to be like, well, I have something, because I always was like good grades and everything. So when I got to college, that's when I really started seeing, like, I was always above average on all my grades, but I was like, I'm on the last, if not the last, to finish the test.
Okay.
So that's when I started noticing. I was like, look, it's not that I'm not dumb. Like, it's not that I don't know how to read. It's like I really have something that is not like it's a deficiency, right? Like it's something that is not keeping me very optimal when the time of reading. So I have to read things so many times, and like when there were time sensitive stuff, I remember I had on like my first class of chemistry 2, I thought that we had 2 hours, and I was going really slow, and then I was like half of the test, and it was like, oh yeah, 5 minutes. And I was like, wait, what? I thought I had 35 minutes. And I was like, damn, I fill it up, I got an F. And I was like, and not because I didn't know, I just couldn't finish the test.
You didn't have the time.
Yeah, and then that's when I realized and then I was so confident about myself that I was like, look, I know I got an F, like I know I can get a B still in the class, like, because science is my thing. I was like, okay, I just gotta be faster, blah blah blah. And that's when I started thinking, maybe I should go and get some accommodations, because if I just have more time, then I could do it. And then just procrastinated on it and never did it. And that's why, like, you know, I still got good grades. It was just like I just talked to the professor, just give me some time, like I'll do it. And then I got like a B or an A. So like
right. So you were like, so you had the foresight enough to be like, something's off. I know that I need the extended time, but you were a college kid, like, I'll get around to it, not a big deal. And you know what? I feel like we were similar in that sense, but for me, it got to the point where it was unbearable. Like, I actually did need extended time for me, and I don't know, and I want to hear what your major was. My major was psychology, so my grades were predicated on 3 exams, and I had the worst test anxiety. I had a 2.5 GPA in undergrad, and I thought I was the stupidest person ever, and I was like, I don't think I didn't know where my life would be. I didn't know I'd get a doctorate and all that kind of stuff. But then that's when I pushed myself to get that diagnosis. I was like, something's wrong. Like something's off. And so once I had those accommodations, I was able to take, time and a half or whatever it was for those tests. So I'm curious to know, so you said you loved math and science. What was your major? And knowing, and we're going to shift into the entrepreneurial part, but you're an entrepreneur. So are you using your degree?
Guess what? I was doing engineering. Why? Math and science heavy.
Right.
You know, and it was something that it was like, even like my family wanted me to be an engineer and everything. And then I ended up being really good in math and science. So it was just common sense for me. Right. It was like, look, this is it. And then I went for industrial engineering, because I'm all about like efficiency, and that's why, like, industrial engineers, it focuses a lot on that. So that's where I went. That was the route that I went.
So tell us a little bit more about what industrial engineering looks like. I don't know if I really understand what that is.
So yeah, it's project management, process optimization, economic analysis. So they are usually the ones that organize the rest of the engineers. So like everybody, like mechanics, electrical, and everything, and then the industrial is the one that is organizing everybody. So they can serve project managers. They can even do like some even famous people, like Will Smith had an industrial engineer working for him to optimize his career and like his everything. Like so that's why I liked it, because I was like, this is such a versatile thing, and also like something that can open me so many doors, because I knew that I wanted to do something big and be a business owner at some point. Right. I was just using that vehicle because my family was paying for it. They were like providing me the support and everything. So I was like, it's engineering, like it's gonna open doors. So like then from there I'll do whatever I want.
Definitely. So before we hop into the entrepreneurial part, I do want to say my badges are on. If you guys are loving this conversation, give us some hearts, give us some feedback. I'm loving this first launch of DQ Debrief. This is just such a passionate field for me and for you and for all of you that are viewing. So definitely give us some love. So James, talk to us about what guided you to become an entrepreneur and have your own like public relations company, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when I make the decision, I was still in the Air Force. So like, just to give you a little bit of more background, so from studying industrial engineering in Puerto Rico, and I was like in the best school of engineering in Puerto Rico, and the average people graduates around 6 years. because you gotta do interns, you gotta co-ops, and there's a lot of credits. It's like 174 credits, so it's crazy to do engineering in Puerto Rico. So I was already like 3.5 years in, and I was like, damn, I still have like a year and a half minimum, and I had to repeat some classes, so I have to like go like so hard. And I was like, look, like I feel like I want to move on, like I want to have a job, I want to feel like a man, I want to move out, like I don't want to depend on my parents. So that's when I decided to like, okay, I'm gonna join the Air Force. And then I joined the Air Force, and then I went to spend there 4 years. I went to deployments and everything, and then I realized like, look, if I wanted to stay complacent and just kind of have a secure paycheck, I would just stay there. I would have. But I was like, this is not fulfilling. This is surviving. This is not really living. And then when I was like 6 months out, I came back from my second deployment. It was during COVID. So I was like, look, I know that COVID is happening, and I don't want to be like, damn, like go to the open, right? Like trying to find a new job and all that. But I managed to line up another job at Intel Corporation here in Oregon, where I live now. That's why I moved here from Idaho. And then while I was there in my corporate job, I already started. So 6 months out, I started my company because I started looking for, I wanted to do my own brand, my own business, a business that was completely online because of the pandemic, right?
Right.
So I wanted to do something that was pandemic proof. So I started looking about agencies, SEO, PR, lead generation, and then like just doing my research and like doing outreach conversations. PR was the thing that stand out for me. And I was like, I really like this. It's complicated, but I'm up for the challenge. So that was like what I saw. It's like, look, I know that a lot of people don't do this because it's challenging, but that's the reason I'm gonna do it.
They're like,
so,
yes, up for that challenge.
Yeah, and like it ignites a lot of conversations when you say like to people, look, I can get you in the media. And I started going on and doing that route, and it was really hard for me to adjust to this new thing because I've never been an entrepreneur before. Started like, I invest on myself, I got some coaching, started learning from somebody that is very successful on it. And that's how like after a lot of training and sales and systems and literally everything that you can think about around a business, I had coaching on it. And then from there, I finally started getting some sales. And then I was like, damn,
that's a good feeling.
Yeah. It's great because I was like, damn, like I can do this. And then it got to a point that I got some big clients. So I have one client that was my first $15K deal. And then from there, I got a referral to another $15K deal. And I was like, okay, I can do this.
You're like, this is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Yes.
And yeah, that's how I ended up like leaving the job of Intel. And then I was like, look, now I'm going to do this full time. And I haven't looked back. I just moving forward.
So, what I love about your story is unique to you. But the underlying, like, pushing through the challenge, that is like a hallmark of like dyslexia, like of dyslexic people. It's that like, I know that I can do this, I just need the time. Or I know that I can do this, I'm just going to think differently about it. And you thought differently, and you reflected, and you're like, I don't want this just 9 to 5, get a paycheck. You wanted more. And I love that, the way your brain works, it's just different. And really, they say, what is it? What was the article? The top entrepreneurs. What was it, James? Tell us a little bit about that. Like the most successful. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was reading about. So I got a friend that reached out to me and told me like when he saw that this event, he was like, look, I read an article saying that entrepreneurs are like usually entrepreneurs. Majority of them are like dyslexic because growing up they were forced to be able to delegate things and stuff to be able to survive and pass classes. So like I was always like, okay, I'll be the leader of this group, and I started delegating and doing the things that I just know that I'm not good. So it's like, okay, the writing, like, okay, obviously we all want to work on it, but you're gonna be in charge of it. And I always took the lead just to avoid being in charge of the things that I'm not good at. So like that was like what the article, the New York Times article that I sent you, it was talking about, because like there's a study that was a 2007 article though. So that means I was trying to look more recent ones, and there's not. So I'm gonna change that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? I want to give a shout out to Noticeability, and that is an organization that really helps students, younger students, like elementary, middle school, I think high school as well, but they have a curriculum that's based for the dyslexic brain. And so the CEO, Dean Braggenhyer, he's dyslexic. He calls himself the dyslexic CEO. And what I love is the programs are entrepreneurship, engineering, and I can't remember the last one. It's slipping my brain, but it's exactly, when you said engineering, I was like, there we go. You know, and what I love about it is it actually, you know, you have young kids where, as you know, like that social emotional piece is huge. So if you have teachers that are telling you, you can't do this, you can't do this, or you need to do it this time, and you have to, you know, get this done in 20 minutes rather than 40 minutes or whatever the extended time is, kids start to not feel confident about themselves. And then maybe they don't actually pursue the things that they're supposed to be pursuing and being successful in. So I love the fact that his organization really focuses on, well, what do you want to do? I think that, you know, you're really like killing this lemonade stand outside. Why don't we look at entrepreneurship? Or you really are excelling at math and science. Why don't we look at that? So I had to like give them a shout out, because I know a lot of folks know Noticeability, and it's just nice to have, you know, some of my audience, James, as you probably know, are moms. And moms that are looking like, how do I help my child? How do I support my child? How do I get them to feel empowered? And so knowing that to where you are, it's a part of the empowerment journey, you know?
Definitely. And yeah, I would like to, like, after we hop off this call, if you can like connect me with him too, that would be amazing, because I would like to, like, I was literally looking for articles on big publications that talk about this, and I couldn't find them. Like, so there's definitely a lack of media coverage on this, and that means that like people don't even know. Like my mom she's still like doubtful that I am dyslexic. So she still is like, oh, so you growing up, I took you to the doctors and stuff, and nobody like tell you anything. Even the doctors don't know how to diagnosticate this, because they never set me down to do a reading test and do all that. Like there's just so much lack of education or of like treatment or anything, and that's why your movement is so good, because you are accounting for that. Like there's really a lack of resources, education, and everything, and that's why I'm so happy like to be here and to be connected with you, because I really want to help you move down the world.
I love this. And you know, I want to touch real quick on the cultural difference. Talk about so you grew up in Puerto Rico, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what in the Puerto Rican culture what are disability? Are they accepted? Is it like, this doesn't exist, not my child? I mean, talk a little bit about that.
So there's a big movement on like Down syndrome and on other stuff, but because they're just undeniable, right? Like you can't be like, you don't have it. Like I literally just, like, one of my group chats of my my high school class, I was like, look, I'm gonna be alive. You guys want to know? I know you guys there's a lot of moms and stuff, so this could be good information. And then somebody says like, oh, like your brain, like you're not dyslexic, and I'm like, this is the reason why you should go through this, because you should understand. Like he's a dad too. It's like, dude, like,
oh wow,
that, you know, like this is something that you clearly need education on, because like people think like, oh, you're smart, so you can't be dyslexic or have disability. And that's just not right. So.
Right, and as a special educator, like that's something I definitely want us to debunk. I mean, first of all, you can't look at someone and say, oh, they're not smart. You know, that goes to show your level of ignorance, to be quite honest. And so I know in the dyslexic community, there are people who are just adamantly angry about the fact that some folks are like, oh, it's just an invisible disability. How are you going to say that to someone? I mean, it's not okay. And I also want to point out, it's a spectrum. So like you said, your mom was like, oh, I took you to these doctors, they didn't give you reading tests. Well, just because you've met one dyslexic, that means you've met one dyslexic. So there are some dyslexics where it's like, there's an obvious reading issue. This child cannot break down these words, can't read the word cat or dog. That is an obvious sign to take your child to the pediatrician. But with you, it sounded like there were some other things, accommodations, or maybe there was comprehension or whatever it is. I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but that's the thing where it's just, we can't, as a culture, as a society, we can't keep saying, oh, well, James, come on, you have a great business. Like, what do you mean you're dyslexic? You don't appear stupid, you know? I mean, it's heartbreaking, you know?
Yeah, and one of the worst things about it really is like, because of the lack of education, like parents put some pressure on kids without knowing. Like I was going to school during my last deployment, and I tried to two classes, and it was introductory classes, so it should be easy. But they were like being like, there was one professor that was really, really hard, and like I was like, come on, like I'm not dumb. If other people can pass this class, I'm putting the time, like, and what it was like torture for me to be on a computer, no class, no nothing, just like online. Like it was so like frustrating, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And like my mom doesn't, still to this day, she doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand that she's still like the other day, like I think the last weekend we talked, and she was like, oh, you're not gonna finish your degree and stuff. I'm like, Mom, I'm a successful business owner.
Right.
What you mean? Like,
right.
And he's like, oh, a degree is always good or something. Like, look, I suffer studying, like literally, like this is painful for me.
Yeah.
Like, and she doesn't get it, and it's because of that lack of education. Because if she would have known better, like she wouldn't be like that, because she would understand how hard it really is for me. But you know, that's why like I just keep moving forward, and I'll let my success just speak for itself.
I was just about to say that. I think again, as a culture, we need to look at success isn't measurable. I'll use myself as example. You don't need to have the highest degree possible to have a doctorate to be deemed successful, right? I mean, you just don't. You're successful, and you have a business and clients and referrals, and I've seen you out there hustling. That's success. It's not measured in you need to have this degree. Yes, there is that culture of you better go to college, you better do this. I mean, honestly, it's about what are you good at? What makes you feel good? What's your passion? Because there are too many kids out there that are like, my mom wants me to be a doctor, and then they go through all this, and then they realize this isn't what I want to do. You know,
No.
So I think, well, send your mom to my page. She'll learn a thing or two.
She doesn't know English though, so that's the thing.
Oh,
that's another thing. So we gotta find somebody doing this in Spanish too, and then I gotta go there and help them to move that message.
Yes,
So
James, we need to, when we hop off this call, let's connect, because we've talked about doing things together and life happens.
We definitely have a lot of things to do. We just have to like put the actionable steps and just do one project at a time, and then just keep doing it, because I really need to, like, even in my own family and everything, they need to understand, right? So like I really like, this is something that is a purpose for me. Like people can identify with me, and if I did it with all my challenges and stuff, and like I'm here talking my second language, running a business on my second language in a country that's not where I grew, and like, so if I did it, like anybody can, right? Like, and I want to help people to be able to get the information they need to be able to succeed. So
listen, that is the best place for us to end this episode. You left us on a high note, and we've had such great engagement. So before we hop off this live, everyone, I want to thank you all for coming to the first episode of DQ Debrief with James Foo Torres. Please follow him, James L. Foo, right? That's your account? Mm-hmm. Yes. And check out his PR agency, and we'll be back. We will be back. We're going to be doing some big things, and I am just so excited. So James, thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing who you are to the audience out here. And I hope you have a good rest of your morning.
Yeah, you too. And thanks for having me. Like, I hope like next time we come back from updates of like, look, we managed to get these pieces in the media. People are reading, are knowing about it and all that stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to, like, sharing in the next one.
Definitely. All right, everyone. Well, have a good rest of wherever you are in the world, and stay tuned for episode 2 coming your way. Bye, everyone.
Bye.